Something to make you look around and say, hey, you know what? I live in a pretty great country. President Trump is calm, on point, on his game. And unlike the last guy, he is competent and coherent.
Come on, man.
We're not bending the knee anymore. We're here to take a stand for God and country.
This is the Steve Gruber Show.
And welcome to it, my friends, live from the shadow of Detroit here, fighting for you from the foxhole of freedom as we do every single day, and putting out the big stories that you don't get everywhere else. Glad to have you here, kicking off another brand new hour of the Steve Gruber Show from the foxhole of freedom. Thank you for joining us. A lot of work to do today, so let's get to it. Here are three big things you need to know to start this hour. Number one, Tyler Robinson made his first in-person court appearance for the assassination of Charlie Kirk on September 10th, and the judge of the case says there can be cameras in the courtroom for now, but you better follow the rules. Number two, Indiana Republicans derailed themselves in a GOP hold on Congress by rejecting a redistricting plan being pushed by President Donald Trump and Republicans elsewhere that would have added 2 more Republican seats in the House. And number three, it's Free Speech, Free for All Friday, brought to you by Patriot Mobile and the Common Sense Hotline, 877-310-9966. 877-310-9966. It's your chance to be heard and to weigh in on the biggest stories of the week. Nothing bigger than health care right now, and the Democrats are pushing hard for Obamacare subsidies to continue for years to come, but the plan was rejected in the Senate, and for good reason. Obamacare, the promises and then the reality. First, President Barack Obama, what he promised, and then a reality check. Listen.
The only thing this plan would eliminate is the hundreds of billions of dollars in waste and fraud, as well as unwarranted subsidies in Medicare that go to insurance companies.
Over the last 2 years, this is investigators at the Government Accountability Office, okay? They submitted 24 fraudulent applications for the ACA subsidies, the Unaffordable Care Act subsidies, Obamacare, okay? Of the 24 fraudulent applications that they created intentionally to just see what would happen, 23 of them were approved. These applications were completely fraudulent. The investigators did not submit any Social Security numbers, citizenship documentation, or reported income documents. And 23 of the 24 applications were still approved. 18 of those, by the way, are still receiving coverages they were as of September.
Yeah. Okay, so you're going to stop
the
fraud and
Obamacare
abuse.
exchange
Enough
and
of that. Barack Obama says you're going to stop fraud and abuse. You get to keep your plan and keep your doctor. All lies, every bit of it. Every bit of it was bogus. By the way, great interview earlier this week with Paul Siegert. We spent an hour with Paul talking about the things that are true about the ACA, what's false about the ACA, why you get billed 100 different levels for the same procedure, why there's 100 different options, sometimes more, why you're getting crushed with your premiums and getting less service every year. Go to the YouTube channel for the Steve Gruber Show. Watch the interview. You're going to want to share it with your friends. Trust me. You can also watch live on YouTube every day, something else for you. The Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline, 877-310-9966. Let's start with Al in Tennessee today. Al, how are you?
Great, Steve. Hope you're doing good. The radical left has succeeded in their plan to import 20 million illegal voters into our country. Midterms are 11 months away. We need Donald Trump and Tom Homan to announce that all illegal aliens who voted in 20 and 24 will be deported and issued ICE removal orders. This is critical and must go viral within the illegal alien population. They need to talk into the cameras directly into the living rooms of the illegal aliens and tell them if they vote, they're going to be deported. If we do this, you can watch the self-deportation skyrocket, and this can help save the midterms. And we need you to use your platform to talk directly to Tom Homan and Donald Trump and get this policy and make them announce this at every media opportunity.
Al, great call. Really appreciate it. Kicking it off nicely here today. We've had 2.5 million people leave the country. I think that it was 1.7 million that self-deported, 800,000 that have been picked up and sent out. It's a big job when you bring in 20 million people. And I agree with what he said. If you vote in an election and you're here illegally, that makes it a crime to vote. You need to know quite clearly that if you do that, and of course you know you can't vote, you don't live here, you're not from here, you're from some other country. If you do that, you're out. And there's no coming back. Permanently tossed out. I like that a lot. The Patriot Mobile, 877-310-9966. Ray is next in Virginia. Ray, welcome to it. Good morning.
Well, I was thinking about calling you, then I said no, then I said yes.
Well, here you
Look,
are.
my wife and I come to a decision. This Affordable Care Act, we paid for it for what, 5-6 years now? We're tired of it.
The Affordable Care
I'm
Act, you've been
tired of
paying for it
giving
since
somebody-
2012. Since 2012.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I'm tired of paying for it. Let them pay for their own insurance, just like I've been doing.
Yeah, that's the problem. I agree. And that's why, look, that's why I really want you guys to go to the YouTube channel. Look at Paul Siegert's interview with me. He is an insurance analyst. He worked for the NSA. He was a Russian analyst. I met him a number of years ago now. He worked for the National Security, for the NSA, right? National Security Agency. And then he went to work in the insurance industry. And he goes into companies and tells them, look, you can save money if you do this, this, and this, and he gets a chunk of the savings, right? That's his job, is to go in to find better plans at better money and save companies, big companies, a lot of money, and he makes just a hell of a nice living doing it because he knows all the intricacies. Go to the YouTube channel, listen to what he has to say. He says the Russians, compared to the insurance industry is far dirtier than the Russians. Let that sink in. Tom is in Michigan. Tom, good morning. How are you? What's on your mind?
I think that we need to do almost like they did when Biden took over. He had the whole Capitol closed off with fences and the National Guard. Well, on voting, we ought to have the National Guard out so that all the illegals are scared to go to the voting booths.
You know, I wonder how I feel about that, because it makes it look like we're doing military type elections. I'm gonna have to ruminate on that one for a moment, Tom. I want people to vote. I want people to use ID. I want people to make sure that they're citizens when they come here to vote. Gotta have it. Gotta have it.
Right. And they won't do it if the National Guard's out there, but the Americans aren't afraid of the National Guard. That's us.
That's a fair point you make, Tom. I'll think about that. I'll get back to you is my takeaway from that. Let's go to Ed. He's in Indiana today. Ed Howard. Indiana failing to redistrict. So I guess Indiana wants to be subservient to California. Go ahead, Ed.
Well, this is a complete debacle. And the trouble is our enemy is within our Republican Party. We've got all these deep, straight Republicans in the party. You know, we got different groups that rate the politicians and that, and we need a rating system for Republicans. Either you're deep state Republican or you're conservative Republican, because, like I say, our enemy is within us.
Thank you for the call. Yeah, Indiana blew it yesterday. Indiana could have redistricted. Added 2 Republican districts to the state of Indiana, just like they do in Massachusetts and Illinois and California. Indiana Republicans said, yeah, we don't want to do that. I guess you just want to give your country away. Very disappointing. Very disappointing. I'll take a break and be right back. All right, back to it. Free speech, free for all Friday, powered by Patriot Mobile. Remember, patriotmobile.com, promo code Gruber. You can always get a deal. Get free service, get great service. All three major providers. You want Patriot Mobile. I've had it for years. You want it. Trust me on this. Let's go to Perry in Missouri on this Free for All Friday. Perry, how are you?
All right, Steve. I just wanted to say for everybody out there listening to think about what Trump has done in 1 year. Where's gas at? Where's ags at? There's everything going down. But you got the Republicans and the Democrats that's been there all their lives and stole money left and right. Now it's all coming out how dirty they was. And it's coming out, and everybody just sat back, and we'll beat them in 26. Thank you, Steve.
Yep.
Appreciate your show.
That's the point. Look, there are a lot of Republicans in Washington. I know I'm there. And you can take this to the bank. Who are sitting there nodding and smiling, but just waiting for it to expire. They don't like Trump. They don't like the people that voted for Trump. They don't like the America First policies. And they're okay to roll over for the Democrats. You see it time and again. By the way, gas in Missouri today, the average there, $2.58. Oklahoma's still the cheapest at $2.35. That's the average. A number of stations under $2 a gallon. It's remarkable. Go back to June of 2022. Gas was over $5 a gallon on average. A month ago, it was $3.07 national average. Now it's $2.93. Oh, yeah. Gas is $2.89 in Michigan and dropping. That's the average here. Let's go to Joe in Texas. Texas gas is cheap. Joe, how are you?
I'm all right. Good morning, Steve. I have a few things I wanted to discuss about these jihadist terrorists and ISIS who are in our country. These are a lot of power secret cells. And from what I've been hearing, that there will be an attack like another 9/11, but on a grander scale from now till February. I'm very deeply concerned about it because...
What's your source?
You know, my source is basically a friend of mine who is able to translate their jihadist language. I don't know
there's nobody's going to be surprised if we wake up tomorrow and there's been some terrorist attack. We saw the attack that was planned just outside of Detroit in Ferndale, Michigan, the Project Pumpkin, they called it. They were going to attack bars in Ferndale, Michigan to Islamic terrorists. They were stopped. You've got a lot in Texas. I mean, Houston's loaded, right? With
I know it.
Mosques and so forth. And look, I hear people say, well, you know, what about the peaceful Muslims? I'm not worried about the peaceful people. Germany was mostly peaceful before World War II. 90% of the people in Germany were peaceful. It doesn't take the peaceful people to create a war, to create a terrorist attack. Be smart about this. It's the people that are not, docile. It's the people that are not, peaceful that are the problem. Go on real quick.
Well, given the fact that native prophecy says that these jihadists are going to help Iran, and Iran and China and Russia are going to be the ones that are going to own the entire world.
Well, we'll
They're
see.
going to be the capital of the entire world.
Over my dead body, that might happen. Over my dead body, Joe, that might happen, but not on my watch. Not while I'm breathing. Let's go to Mark in North Carolina. Mark, how are you?
Mark's gone.
All right, Mark took a hiatus. All right, we'll go to Tennessee. How about that? Pete, how are you?
I'm good, sir. A couple of things real quick. Number one is I keep hearing about Trump a king, and Pete had said, why don't everybody remember, and if you'll go check, Obama, when he was president, my son was in the military, and I knew some other people, and they called me. They were younger, and he was making everybody sign this letter. Would you fire upon American citizens if ordered to?
I've heard that story. Hold on. Well, I've heard that story, Pete. Can somebody get me the letter?
It's not a story, sir. It actually happened.
No. I wasn't saying you were wrong. I wasn't saying you were wrong. I was saying I'd like a copy of it.
Yes, sir.
Go to SteveGruber.com.
Yes,
Anybody who's got a copy of that letter, email it to me, please. That's what I was saying. Pete.
Okay, I thank you for doing that. One other question: the man that was just on there talking about, he was concerned with an attack.
Yep.
You better not be concerned. You better be ready for it. That's my advice. And on your network and all, y'all are always advertising for Patriot Supply.
Yep.
Brother, you need to do it.
Pete, thank you for the call. Greatly appreciate it. Let's get to Lee in Texas. Lee, by the way, Ken Paxton's going to be the next senator from Texas. John Cornyn's all done in Texas. If you're keeping score, John Cornyn's running third in the primary as the incumbent senator from Texas. He's all done. It will be Ken Paxton. Lee, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
I'm wanting to know about WinRed platform here. Is it operated by AI or humans? Because I have a continuous onslaught of text covering my phone daily, bullying me for surveys. When you complete surveys, unless you donate each time, they will not even accept your answers. So at this point, I'm about done
We'll block
with
it.
WinRed.
Well, that's fair, Lee. I don't disagree with you on that. You know, the new, I've just been told this. The new operating system for the iPhones makes it so that when you get a phone call, you can actually identify who it is. They have to say who they are. You don't have to take any of these garbage phone calls anymore. I'll bet there's an application on there so you can do the same thing with text messages. Who's this coming from? Can I block it? You can certainly block the numbers that they're coming from, because I find that highly
I would love to,
irritating.
but otherwise, how do I support?
Yeah.
I don't understand anymore. I really don't.
Well, thank you, Lee, for the call. Greatly appreciate it. Just block it. Put a nice. If you can't figure it out, your kids and grandkids can. Grandkids for sure, I'll guarantee you that. The Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline, 877-310-9966. Join Patriot Mobile. You'll be glad you did. PatriotMobile.com, promo code Gruber. You're going to save some money today and have the best phone service you've ever had. And by the way, they're based entirely in the U.S. I'll be right back. All right, let's continue on now with this Free Speech, Free for All Friday. Glad to have you here. Healthcare in the headlines. Tyler Robinson in the headlines. The Michigan football program in the headlines. What a disaster that is. The former head coach in jail, accused of stalking and assault and impregnating a staff member. Complete meltdown in Ann Arbor. I'm going to tell you, the athletic director at the University of Michigan, he'll be fired shortly. Let's go to Robert in Kansas. Robert, how are you today?
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Gruber, for taking a call from the flyover zone. I have a couple of questions for you. I distinctly recall Barack Obama saying that if we brought in 30 million migrants, the Democrats would not lose another election. I cannot find that anywhere on the internet, but I remember distinctly.
I don't know if that's real or not. I'll have to do my research. I don't know if that's real or not. You know.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And secondly, is it true that he gets royalties from the Affordable Care Act in some fashion?
Well, the Democrats, let me answer that question, and thank you for the call, Robert. Democrats get royalties, not per se, but they get royalties. Here's why. 90% of the money spent by the insurance companies on campaigns goes to, you guessed it, Democrats. That's right. Democrats get 90% of the money coming from the spending of these big insurance companies. Why? Because they want these subsidies. They want the American taxpayers. They don't care that it's destroying the country. They don't care that it's bankrupting the country. United Healthcare, Blue Cross Blue Shield, they don't care. Their profits have gone up 10 times in a few years. They're fleecing us all. And they're good with it. And that's not a good thing. Health savings accounts, health associations where you have a group of people from like Costco, 44 million people, like Rand Paul said. Great idea. Great idea. Have 44 million people go in and negotiate a deal with Blue Cross or United Health. This part of the program brought to you proudly by PuroClean's Veterans Initiative, PuroVet, where veterans find purpose in property restoration and entrepreneurship. We salute those who have served. 855-PuroVet or purovet.com, purovet.com. I'll tell you about Gruber merchandise coming up in a moment, too. You're going to want your shirts and your coffee cups for Christmas, right? I'll tell you how to get it after the break. All right, let's get back to it. If you want to put the coolest thing in the world under the tree, you just need Gruber merch. It's a simple thing. You get Gruber merch. Anthony's got it for you. There it is. Click that QR code. Boy, I look nice in that suit, don't I? Look at that purple. It just pops, doesn't it, Anthony? Anyhow, you got coffee cups. You got great workout shirts. You've got hoodies. You've got some stuff to choose from there. Go ahead and check that out. Appreciate it. Let's go to Scott in California on this Free Speech Free for All Friday. Scott, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about you, Steve?
Doing great. What's on your mind?
So, two things. So the health care, the ACA/Obamacare, a lot of people are skipping over now the huge sums of money, and I remember the number. I just can't remember if it was million or billion. I'll say billion. $750 billion stolen from Medicare and the whole Medicare system to go to these subsidies. So if we're not going to renew the subsidies, why not put that money back to the Medicare system?
Well, you should. We should put all the money back. You know, and these subsidies, here's the thing. These subsidies are enriching the insurance company. Everybody knows this now. 20% of the money that goes from taxpayers, it goes directly to insurance companies. They take 20% right off the top, and then we get whatever's left over. We get the leftovers, folks. Donald Trump's right. Send that money to people like you, Scott. That's where it needs to go, so you can decide. And then if you have a healthcare association like Rand Paul has talked about, you and 25 or 50 million of your friends can go negotiate with United Healthcare and Blue Cross Blue Shield. Take the insurance companies out of the mix. Period.
Yep.
There you go.
And then the second thing on this commandeered oil tanker.
Yeah.
And I guess they're trying to get two others from yesterday's news on Real America's Voice. Apparently, we are now going, per a federal judge, we are now able to keep that oil. So they're not saying, though, what's going to happen to it, where it's going to go.
I don't know.
I say we should, because Trump was saying that the oil from Venezuela is dirtier anyway.
It is.
It needs to be refined in Texas. It's the only place
How
that
about
can
free gas
handle
for
it.
everybody?
Exactly. Put it back to the petroleum reserves that Biden depleted.
Yeah, the SPR, the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. That's a good idea. Scott, thank you for the call. Here in my home state, where it does nothing but snow anymore, I've got Guy on the line. Guy from Michigan. How are you?
I'm really good. I appreciate you guys. A couple of things. Number one, I wish they would fire Pam Bondi and get somebody in there that would go and get some perp walks. We've been waiting 10 months. The American people see no action on this, and therefore we lost faith, and that loses votes. They need to get on this and have perp walks and put faith back in the Republicans. And the other thing is...
Let me ask you this, Guy. This is an important question. Hold on, wait. Here's my question. Are you going to vote in the midterms?
Yes.
Because here's the problem that I see, I see it in Michigan a lot. I saw in the midterms of 2022. 1 million people that voted for Donald Trump in 2020 in Michigan didn't vote at all in 2022. If you only vote when Donald Trump's on the ballot, that's a problem. If you only vote because Donald Trump's on the ballot, that's a problem. He needs your help. This country needs to continue with the Republican majorities or we'll get nothing done. We don't get a lot done when the Republicans are in the majority. That's sad but true. But if the Democrats are in charge, we'll spend the next 2 years screwing around with impeachment and nonsense and investigations so they can hide the fact that they're paying the insurance companies. They can hide the fact that places like Minneapolis are rife with fraud, waste, and abuse. They'll hide it. Gavin Newsom will put more hair gel in and get out there and pontificate about how California is great, and he'll do that for America. We have to vote. Go ahead, Guy. I just wanted to say that.
I get as many people as I know. I go to them, and that's why I say I appreciate Charlie Kirk and what he did. He got a lot of young people off their butts and out there to vote, and they door knocking and whatever. That needs to happen again. I'm afraid that now that he's gone, they're going to let that go to the wayside.
We cannot lose the momentum. I've got this idea for Turning Point USA. How about Turning Point USA Silver? For people like you, Guy, and people like me that are not kids anymore, that have been around, how about TPUSA Silver for older folks, people that are 50 plus, whatever you want to pick, and mobilize even more people in this country, not just the young ones. Thanks for the call. It's a good one. Smart people live in Michigan. Well, with the tax base, a lot of smart people are leaving Michigan. Anyhow, James, Louisiana. James, how are you?
I'm fine, sir. Thank you. I'd like to talk about Mr. Cassidy for a second, and then I'd like to say something about the war on drugs.
Go ahead. Bill Cassidy, Senator.
Yes, sir. Mr. Senator Cassidy he voted to impeach Trump, I'm sorry. He voted to impeach Mr. Trump, and he also voted against my Second Amendment rights. So he's just trying to get reelected, what good politicians do.
Yeah,
and I'll be voting against him, just to let you know. The war on drugs, well, we got a president now that actually is doing war on drugs. They've been hollering that stuff for years, and nobody did nothing. Now Mr. Trump is up there kicking butt and taking names, and that's all I got to say, Mr. Gruber. Thank you.
James, thank you very much. Look, I'm working on a documentary now. It's in its early phases. I'm going to go to some of these small towns in America where people have died because you get to hear about the guy driving the boat, and Democrats will, tell you how awful it is that we're blowing drug boats out of the water and it's a war crime and all this other nonsense. Let me tell you something. Don't tell me about the guy driving the boat because he's just trying to survive. When some kid in small town America dies today because he smoked a joint that he didn't know was laced with fentanyl, that's going to happen today. Somewhere in America right now, there's a young man alive that by the time the clock strikes midnight won't be because of illegal drugs coming into this country. That's the story we need to tell. That is the story we must tell. The damage to America done by illegal drugs. Dan is in Indiana. Dan, how are you today?
Good morning, Steve. Just to the last call, same point. I don't understand why the deranged Dems are giving Secretary of War Hegseth so much static about war crimes if we're in an undeclared war. Can you help me out on this, please?
Well, most of our wars are undeclared, by the way. In fact, almost all of them. There's only been 5 declared wars in the history of the United States: 1812, 1846, 1898, World War I, World War II. That's it. The Spanish-American War, the Mexican-American War, the War of 1812, World War I, World War II. We've been at war how many times just in your lifetime and mine? Wars don't get declared very often is what I'm saying. Josh in Ohio, real quickly. What's on your mind, Josh?
Hey, Steve. How you doing today?
Good. What's up?
Well, I've called you a couple times. Love you guys. Love what you do. Appreciate you a whole bunch. Been through it lately. But my whole thing is I listen to everything. I listen to, everybody. And, and then I even follow foreign currencies and everything like that, too, because I believe that there's a global shift getting ready to happen with, values on currencies and, asset backed and where they're going to go and get off the fiat system. But the thing is there's this soap opera going on where they're like, oh, make sure you get everyone out to vote and this and that. But since 2020, no one's ever been able to say how they fix the voting system. And I think that all of America right now has no confidence in their vote.
Yeah, we got to dig into it. You're
thing.
right about that, Josh. I got to leave it there because I'm up against a break. Appreciate the call. Patriot Mobile's Common Sense Hotline, 877-310-9966. He mentioned currency. Silver is way up. Gold is way up. Crypto kind of not doing well. But I'm going to talk to somebody in a moment here that did really well with crypto. So if you're interested in that, stick around because you're going to learn a couple of things right after the break on The Steve Gruber Show. Welcome back to the program. You know, over the last few weeks, we've seen crypto shed a lot of value, and that, you know, had a lot of people very worried. But if you were invested in the right places, well, the outcome could have been significantly different, and I mean significantly. Jonathan Rose is the CEO of Block Trust IRA. He's joining me now. Jonathan, glad to have you back on the program.
Good day. Thank you, Steve, for having me. Pleasure.
So we were just talking just before you jumped on. January to today, Bitcoin, and that's basically the gold standard for folks, down about 3%. But your strategy revealed something completely different. I'm not going to tell the folks. You tell the folks.
So we specialize in strategies on Bitcoin and Ethereum. A buy and hold strategy in Bitcoin, year to date, you'd be down roughly 3%. But with our strategies, you'd be up 27.1%. It's a big, big difference.
That's a 30-point swing. I mean, that's a 30-point difference. How could you do that?
Well, we're very proud of this. We were voted #1 by Bitcoin Magazine to have the best trading strategy for Bitcoin. And I think what people need to understand is cryptocurrency is very different than a lot of other assets. And unlike something like precious metals, which I also own, you kind of throw that in the safe and you forget about it. But with cryptocurrency, people need to understand it's a market that doesn't sleep. There's no opening bell. There's no closing bell. So it's always on. And because of that, the markets can move in extremes. You know, hypothetically, China could invade Taiwan, President Trump can sign an executive order, and it can send these markets absolutely, you know, skyrocketing upwards or downwards. And if you don't have these cutting edge tools, you have no protection. So really what we do is we mitigate risk, we manage volatility. In fact, we love the word volatility, because if you invest in assets like Bitcoin in a buy and hold strategy, you are going to lose the race. Not to say it's bad, but it's the way of the dinosaurs, and we know what happened to those guys. What we specialize in is identifying these different verticals for cryptocurrency, macroeconomic data, price technical analysis, on-chain metrics, and we're quantifying millions and millions of data points, because data is the new oil today, and it's giving us signals. And when there's volatility, we simply take our clients who may have IRAs or 401ks investing through cryptocurrencies, move them safely into cash. We wait for that volatility to be over, and then we buy back in, and we rinse and repeat. And by doing so, we're able to beat very successfully the buy and hold strategy. And
so
it's almost
clearly,
like,
I mean, a 30-point swing is unheard of. You should be proud of it, Jonathan. I'm telling you, you should be proud of that, because a lot of people took a beating when Bitcoin went down over the last 30 to 60 days. Just took an absolute beating. You didn't. Your clients didn't. And that's a remarkable way to completely outperform the market or expectations. What's your feeling about Bitcoin? It's right at about $90,000 right now. It's kind of unwavering at that point. Its high watermark was, what, $125,000 a coin? I believe that it's going to take off again. A lot of people do. What are your thoughts about looking down the road here into 2026?
yeah, when you look at an asset like Bitcoin, I think the fundamentals of what people need to understand, that cryptocurrency, particularly the asset Bitcoin, is the future of money. When you look at fiat currency, the US dollar, $38 trillion in debt, you know, we're drowning. The economic system as we know it is coming to the end, and the future of money is assets like Bitcoin. And this is now, we're kind of past the kids in the basement playing video games and talking about Bitcoin. We're at phase 2 now. Phase 2 is mass adoptions through the banking sector. We've often seen now what President Trump has done, fast accelerating the cryptocurrency market, even putting Bitcoin in the US Treasury. Right. And now we're seeing big banks getting on board with their stable coins, their initiative push. So the future looks very bright for cryptocurrency. Are we still going to have these volatility swings? Absolutely, because that's what cryptocurrency brings to the market. But if you can manage that volatility and turn that volatility to your friend, this is how we beat the buy and hold strategy. And it's very important to have these strategies, because this is a market that doesn't sleep. But the future looks very bright.
I wonder how much you're going to beat the market if crypto goes to 125 or 150, that being Bitcoin, of course, because you're beating the market when it's on its downswing. What happens at Block Trust IRA when it's on the upswing?
Well, the beautiful thing about this is we're doing two things. Number one, we're mitigating the risk. We're mitigating that drawdown. So we're it's almost like a stop loss, but you're staying in a cash position. And by buying back in once the volatility is over, we're doing my second favorite thing, which is compounding. And compounding really is how you grow, you get more tokens. And then, as you mentioned, as the market shoots back up to 125, 150, up and above, then that's really how you're really expanding and more importantly, changing your financial wealth. Now you're really beating the system. You're creating, a legacy retirement for yourself, for your family. Right. And this is what it's all about, right? Is to kind of break the financial matrix and make life-changing events with money, with crypto, and do it in a safe and secure way. And we do all of this, by the way, with no leverage, no lockup. It's always liquid. And we have $200 million in insurance, military-grade encryption. People's money is safe. And it's the only way, in my opinion, maybe a little bit biased, the only way to do this.
Let me ask you this. We got about a minute left. I think last time I read there were about 28 Bitcoin billionaires. It's the greatest appreciating assets in the history of the world. Is there still a chance to make big wealth in crypto? Because some people say, it's over. I don't think you believe that. We got about 45 seconds. Last word to you.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think there was actually 88,000 millionaires created in crypto just let alone last year. It's the future of money. And I think the main thing people need to understand is why it's the future of money. So getting that education, and then once they kind of check that box, how do I buy it safely and securely, and then have these award-winning strategies to maximize returns for the future.
Absolutely. Jonathan Rose is the CEO of Block Trust IRA. Jonathan, thank you for the education. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me today.
And if you want to find out more, and I know you do, go to SteveGruberCrypto.com. SteveGruberCrypto.com. He had a 27.1% return in a market that was down 3 points. I don't know how you argue with that. SteveGruberCrypto.com. Check it out today. You'll be glad you did. Jonathan Rose, Block Trust IRA. What a great conversation that was. Up 27%. I'll take a break and be right back. It is The Steve Gruber Show. All right, let's just jump right back into it. Hope you did well with your crypto. Jump right back into it. I've got Free Speech, Free for All Friday. Michelle has been very patient. She's in Florida. Michelle, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Steve. I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm well. What's on your mind?
Okay, a little chilly this morning, I'll add. But my big thing is, I know, but my big thing is, I mean, we're worried about all these things that are going on in the world. Nobody's looking up at the chemtrails. We'll have beautiful blue skies, and then all of a sudden, it's like somebody's just taken a pen or a paintbrush and just chemtrails everywhere. I mean, do we know where they're coming from?
I don't.
Who's flying those planes?
I appreciate the call, Michelle. Thank you. I don't spend a lot of time discussing this. I don't know what to make of it. It's 18 degrees in Michigan. I don't know what to make of that. It's cold, and there's a lot of snow. I don't know where it comes from either. God, just having a good day. I don't know, Michelle. I'm not dismissing you. I just don't spend a lot of time on it because I got a lot of other things to fill the docket every day. Steve is in West Virginia. Steve, how are you?
I'm well, Steve. Good morning. God bless you, Ivy, and the crew.
Thank you.
I wanted to talk to you about the insurance.
All right.
I know it's a hard bit to swallow when they raise your premiums, but back in 2012, Obama came down to West Virginia trying to push his Obamacare, and of course the union, they shut him down quick. Well, what ended up happening, they picked up Blue Cross Blue Shield, and we were actually paying about $9 per hour of work. No matter how many hours you worked a week, some months we paid $1,500 premiums.
Right.
And they didn't cover anything.
Yeah.
That's why I'm on disability now. They turned me down for everything.
Yeah, it's been a terrible program, Steve, and I appreciate the phone call. It's awful. It enriched the insurance companies. You can keep your doctor, you can keep your plan. That was all BS to get us to single-payer health care like they have in Canada or Europe. And that's why they come here for heart surgery and hip replacements, because they don't have to stand in line for a year. We'll talk more about it on this Free Speech, Free for All Friday. More calls and a lot more action right after the break right here on the Steve Gruber Show. something to make you look around and say, hey, you know what? I live in a pretty great country. President Trump is calm, on point, on his game. And unlike the last guy, he is competent and coherent.
Come on, man.
We're not bending the knee anymore. We're here to take a stand for God and country.
This is the Steve Gruber Show.
Well, it certainly is. Glad to have you along for the ride today on a Free Speech, Free for All Friday. It's snowing and cold in Michigan, 17 beautiful degrees here from the foxhole of freedom. And 250% of snowfall for November and December so far. And we've got 2 weeks to go. It's going to be a white Christmas here. I don't know about you. Here are 3 big things you need to know this hour. Number 1, 23 Democrats joined their Republican colleagues to kill the latest ridiculous impeachment effort against Donald Trump. But make no mistake, this is the only thing they will pursue if they get the majority in the midterms. Number 2, former Michigan football coach Sharon Moore expected in court today to face charges for an alleged assault and stalking. It's been a terrible week for the Wolverines, to say the least. And number 3, like I said, Free Speech, Free for All Friday brought to you by my good friends at Patriot Mobile and the Common Sense Hotline, 877-310-9966, 877-310-9966. It's your chance to be heard to weigh in on the biggest stories of the week and to hear the dumbest and best things from the whole week as well. We'll do that today. We'll go to Ted in Indiana. He's been very patient. Ted, how are you today?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. How
Good.
are you?
I'm good. What's on your mind, my friend?
Yeah, I'm a senior and a retired senior, and my big concern is Social Security. With all the tariffs and everything going on, this COLA that we get every year, I'm thinking that we could get just a little bit more. I mean, we're not going to get rich, but, help us out a little bit on this COLA thing.
I wonder, that's
my take.
I appreciate, Ted. Thank you for the phone call. I really do. And thank you for hanging on. A little bit more money for the seniors out of the tariff money. What do you think, guys? I'm okay with it. Let's get our house in order. Look, we've got inflation under control, prices on gas coming down, prices on groceries have gone up 1.2% since January, so not perfect, but a heck of a lot better than it's been. So maybe help some folks out that are a little tight with that tariff money. I think that's something Donald Trump might consider. Randy in Florida, how are you today?
Good morning, Steve. How you doing today?
I'm good, young man. What's on your mind?
Hey, everybody's saying Donald Trump isn't on a ticket. Well, he is on that ticket.
Sure is.
Because as long as you got people like Al Green and what's that other guy? He looks like Papa Smurf, with a fake rug on his head.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why also that the Venezuelans,
Yeah.
These Democrats don't understand that they're being influenced by Russia and Chinese.
And
I
the
don't want them in
Iranians.
my backyard.
Yeah, I don't want that in my backyard either. That's a great call, Randy, and thank you. Let me explain this to you, folks. It began in Pennsylvania last week. Or was that this week? I guess that was this week. Donald Trump began his affordability tour. Donald Trump is going to be on the campaign trail as if it was 2024. He's going out. He is putting himself on the ballot. They'll say, well, Donald Trump's not on the ballot. He's going to go out there and put himself. He's going to make it a referendum on a closed border, on lower inflation, on gas that's under $2 a gallon. He's going to put himself on the ballot and make people decide. Do you like what you have now, or did you like 9.1% inflation in the summer of 2022? Do you like what you have now, or did you like the draconian crackdowns when you wanted to go to the store without a mask on? Donald Trump is going to put himself on the ballot. That's a great call from Randy. Donald Trump's going to be out there doing rallies. You watch. And the Democrats will attack. Oh, look, there's only 12 people at his rally. As they take pictures before the thing starts, right? Joe is in Ohio. Love Ohio. Joe, how are you today?
Hi, sir.
What's on your
Hello?
mind? Yes, sir. What's on your mind?
Oh, can you hear me? You're not coming in very clearly.
Yeah, okay, Joe.
I'll tell you.
Go ahead. What's on your mind?
Okay. Here. Okay. Well, went out on Roots top 10 on Saturday. He had Laura Logan on, and she brought up the fact that the inspector generals, which is what keeps track of what gets heard by the courts and what doesn't, is a main problem for Trump, mainly because they are all been appointed by people from the
Joe, I appreciate the call. Thank you. I really appreciate it. We got to move quicker here, boys and girls. We got to move quicker and get to our point, Joe. Nothing personal. We just got to keep it flowing. Ray in Florida. Ray, what's on your mind?
Yeah, Steve, I'm retired on Social Security, and starting next month, they're going to be taking $202 out of my check for Medicare. Illegals get Medicaid for absolutely free.
Yeah, there's truth to that. The Democrats will tell you that that doesn't happen. But I just watched them break it down on the floor of the Senate. They do get it. Some of the programs, they get the majority of what's handed out. Not more than half, but the majority. They get the largest portion of what gets handed out. So the idea that these illegals aren't getting government benefits is absolutely laughable, Ray. You're exactly right. $202 out of your check, and they're sending it to God only knows who. Look, we saw what happened in Minneapolis. Don't think that's not happening all over the country, right?
Yeah, well, I worked 45 years, and they're going to be taking $202 a month out for my Medicare. That's absolutely ridiculous. They gave us a 2.8 raise, and they raised the premium on the Medicare to eat it right back up.
Yeah. Ray, I appreciate your call. We've got to do better. And that's if Social Security and Medicaid even exist in 5 or 8 years. Dustin's in Tennessee. Dustin, welcome to the program. What is your concern today?
Hey, Steve, love the show.
Thank you.
So about 2-3 years ago in our county, Campbell County, Tennessee, they started clearing the electric lines, and, you see that being done. It was pretty much had to be a visa program. They couldn't speak English, besides that point. Now coming up to this time, all the utility vehicles brand new under Biden. And now coming up to this time, they're making us go digital instead of analog. And the question is, when I asked them, why can't I keep my analog? They said they don't got enough people to read the meters.
Yep,
So
that's the claim, which is nonsense. They put these smart meters out there, right? And the smart meters can decide whether or not your air conditioning is going to run today because they put in windmills that are really inefficient and ridiculous. And they can decide whether you get your air conditioning or if your heat's too high. Smart meters that all connect. All the stuff's interconnected now. The thermostat on your wall, the meter on the side of your house, all of it. Let's get to Robert in Wisconsin before I run out of time, though. Robert, real quickly.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
I can barely hear you. I'm sorry, Steve. 2 things here. As far as election fraud, it's not fraud. It's election maladministration. If the legal boys use those words, the other legal boys who are saying it's not fraud will look into it. And here's a name for you you're going to love. Johann Hutton Pulitzer. He's the one who did this for the last 20 years, found that information out. Thank God somebody mentioned $202 a month, okay? Yeah, have you heard about that or done anything in the last 3 or 4 years on that? I don't think anybody has.
Well, I'm going to, and I appreciate the call. A hard break, my friend. I appreciate all the calls and all the support on a Free Speech Free for All Friday. More after the break. Friday, 17 degrees here. Hello. That'll wake you up and get you rolling on a Friday, get the blood moving, because if it doesn't, you just freeze to death. Yeah, winter came early here. No question. Talking about your health today, Twyla Braze is an RN, president and co-founder of Citizens Council for Health Freedom. She joins me now. Twyla, welcome to it. Good morning.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
All right, and so we're here to talk about this penalty for folks who show up at the airport without a real ID. I thought you couldn't fly without a real ID, but apparently you can if you pay the tax, the TSA tax. All right, if you pay, you can get on the road. It's a toll road now. What is this all about? Tell the folks.
So what people have to understand is what the real ID is. So I'll just say about that penalty, and thank you for calling it a penalty, because that's exactly what it is. The whole plan here is to get you in line, to get you to give up your fourth and your 10th Amendment rights, and to enter the federal surveillance system. Because real ID is not a card, it's a system. And so, you know, this is sort of like their last shot deal to try to get everybody to, you know, submit to the real ID, but not telling people what the real ID is. And I think, you know, that's what your audience needs to know. So let me just
All right, so what is it? Because I'll be honest with you. I'm pretty sure the one that I have is real ID. I don't think you can get anything else. I don't think anything else is available anymore.
So it depends. And in all but 5 states, you do have a choice, but they don't tell you because they're trying to get you into the real ID system. So we're actually asking people to go back and make the switch to a standard state driver's license. So here's what the real ID is. So you have a real ID if you have a card that has a star on it. So if you just pull out your card, if there's a star on it, now you have a federal ID. You no longer have a state driver's license. You have a federal ID under federal control. And as you know, this is this is a country with a constitution, the power to the states. The power is limited to the federal government, but in this case, because the federal government has taken over identification, nationalized identification, they are taking over the country through the real ID. Okay, so what it is a federal ID, a national ID under federal control, masquerading as a state driver's license. All these states have succumbed. They have conformed to the federal real ID law and agree to do whatever the federal government says with this card. Now, the DMVs have testified to Congress just 2 years ago that their plan is to digitize the real ID, put it on our phones, and have remote and real-time access to it.
For what purpose? First of all, let me back up here. Where did this originate? When did the first real ID legislation get through?
Well, that went through in 2005, and if you listen to the floor debate at the time, what you would have heard is the senators complaining that this had been attached to a must-pass national defense spending bill.
Of course, NDAA.
Yes, and it never went through in the Senate. It never had any hearings. It was never part of a conference committee. It came in the morning on this bill. And so there's a lot of complaints on the floor about this, but again, it was must pass. So this was 2005.
So let me get this straight then, Twyla. The same people that brought me the Patriot Act,
yes,
and what a lovely can of worms that turned out to be, gave me real ID. Same group of people. George W. Bush, yeah. Those folks.
Absolutely. That's exactly who. And Senator Lamar Alexander from Tennessee on the floor of the Senate said, this is really a national identification card. We've never done this before. We should be having a public debate with the American people. And of course, they didn't do that. And so they proposed, after they passed it, they proposed a rule in 2007, and they finalized it in 2008. And they required the states to submit. Now, of course, that is completely against the 10th Amendment and states' rights. And legislators first got wind of the Real ID Act because of this rule. And so there was about 25 states that in one form or the other, including passing legislation, said we will not conform. We will not submit. This is a usurpation of states' rights, and we're not going to do it. But then it was Obama in late 2015 who shouted from the rooftops that if you don't get Real ID, you won't be able to fly. Now, this is the first time that the national media knew about the Real ID Act and really did anything with it. And so they heralded it across the country, and people got afraid. You know, there's a lot of reasons to fly, and they wanted to fly. And so they called their legislators and said, you know, fix this problem. What's up with this? Why can't we have a Real ID too? I need to fly. And in this case, the legislators repealed those laws against it, and they bowed to public opinion without telling the public that, well, okay, but if we do that, we're giving up your individual rights. We're setting you up for a national surveillance system. We shouldn't do this, but they did, and all of them did.
They did it anyway, and they want access to our phones. They want 100% compliance by 2027, and they're not going to back up from this. So how do you fight it? What do you do? I've got about 1 minute left to give you the last word.
Okay, so contact Rand Paul's office, Senator Rand Paul, and tell him to tell him thank you for his bill to repeal Real ID, and then ask him for a hearing, and then go to refuserealid.org and get everything that you need, including to switch back to a state driver's license. Refuserealid.org, and tell your state legislators that you have figured out that this is the China social credit system that is being set up, including the biometric facial identification system.
Well,
tell
in order to
you
get on a plane,
understand
you have to take your picture now. I fly a lot.
No, you don't. You do not. You do not. Look at those signs that say you can opt out. Everybody should be opting out. You're training the computers to recognize you on the street in whatever form you come in. So absolutely opt out. Use your passport.
Refuse Real ID. Refuserealid.org. Twilight, I want to have you back because I want to dig deeper. Want to know more about it.
Okay. Happy to
because
come.
the best explanation I've heard thus far. I don't think I've ever heard the explanation before. Really appreciate you sharing this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Real ID. Refuserealid.org. Go find out more. Do you want it? Do you want to get rid of it? I've never heard that before. Now you have on the Steve Gruber Show. All right, back to it now. GLP-1s were just step one. Apparently, Eli Lilly has a major weight loss pain relief drug coming. Retatrutide. They claim reduced knee pain by 76%, helped people lose 29% of their body weight, and offered substantial relief of osteoarthritis pain. I don't know if that's true. You know, a lot of people on GLP-1s, I've heard a lot of horror stories. And people that got real sick and couldn't get more than 5 minutes away from the bathroom, that sort of thing. Bad stuff. But Eli Lilly is moving forward with these drugs. Why? Because they make a mountain of money off it. That's why. They make a mountain of money off it. Whenever possible, avoid drugs, Anthony. Don't do drugs.
No, I don't do drugs. I'll crack a cold one.
Well, yeah, that's different. It is Friday. And all you do is set it out in the snowbank, which is everywhere, and you'll feel better about yourself. By the way, you can really feel better if you go to Victory Nutrition International. Best vitamins you're ever going to find. Victory Nutrition International. It's nutrition that gets in. Ivy is a what's the term? Vicious overlord, something like that. She said the other day. She is the overseer of the house.
Overseer, yeah.
Yeah, and she makes sure. I mean, she's a whip cracker. She's passive aggressive when it comes to vitamins. Here. You didn't take your vitamins, you know. Yeah, I noticed that, Ivy. Anyhow, you've noticed that, right, Anthony? You've noticed.
Yeah.
She's here all the time. Anyhow, Victory Nutrition International. You can get 20% off today at vni.life/Gruber, vni.life/Gruber. Save a bunch of money and get the best. They only have 6 products, scientifically tested and approved by Ivy. And that's all that matters. It's Ivy approved. vni.life/Gruber. Promo code is Gruber. Get 20% off. When we come back, Congressman Tim Walberg will be with me. This is the Steve Gruber Show. Well, the timing on what we're going to talk about next could not possibly be better. The National Defense Authorization Act, right? For 2026. We're going to talk about that one, but we're also going to mention the one from 1986. Why? Well, you probably know why. But Congressman Tim Walberg joining me now from the 5th Congressional District in Michigan. Congressman, nice to see you today.
Well, good to be with you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, my friend. And we're going to have a white Christmas. That's pretty clear at this point. We're at 250% of average here where I'm sitting for snowfall already this fall. Boy, it's winter out there, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's winter time, so why not have
is.
it? If you
There
sing
you
about
go.
a white Christmas, why not have a white Christmas?
Well, we'll enjoy. You know, the kids get to go. They've been sledding early. The ski hills are happy up north. Man, they're having a good time. All right, the NDAA. It's been a productive week in Washington. How unusual, but apparently we're getting some things done.
We are getting some things done, and NDAA, it was time to get that done to make sure that our troops are well cared for, to give our troops who've not been treated well, at least as far as the income level for quite some time, we've been giving them increases, and this one was almost a 4% increase. So the foot soldier, the airman, the sailor are given somewhat of their due, and their families are not in shutdown mode, but can be thankful at this Christmas that we've shown some appreciation for what they do.
And that's good, and I appreciate that. 43 days they didn't get paid because of your friends across the aisle there, and so maybe a little bit of a Christmas bonus, we'll call it, and that is good news. And the reason I mentioned the 1986 National Defense Authorization Act, because there was a sister piece of legislation that year called the Maritime Defense Act of 1986, at the time sponsored by Chuck Schumer, and it authorized the use of military force against drug boats, just like we're seeing now by Donald Trump, authorized and authored by Chuck Schumer. Remarkable that he authorized blowing up drug boats running illegal narcotics to the United States. And in the 1980s and 90s, it was very common to do exactly what's happening now. What we didn't have then, social media. To put it all over and make it into the guy running the boat is somehow the victim. Look, Rapid River, Michigan, sir, up by Escanaba, little tiny town, 300 people, has lost 5 people to drug overdoses. Why don't we talk about that? Why don't we talk about the people that have been impacted in Michigan? 2,700 people a year dying from overdoses to fentanyl alone. Shouldn't that be the story?
Well, I think so. I think it ought to be, and it ought to have been for quite some time. All of us have friends that either are in family or we know who have died as a result of overdoses, opioids, and fentanyl. And you've got to believe in this world, with terrorists all around, that they're not concerned that people are getting high. They want to kill people, kill Americans. And so, yes, you're absolutely right. What has been done in the past, I remember just a couple of weeks ago listening to that great general, Jack Keane, talk about the fact that it's normal to finish off, the military finishes off the duty of destroying the enemy. And that's what the Trump administration has been doing. That's what Pete Hegseth, our Secretary of War, has been doing. And only because of radical leftists in this country who just don't want Trump winning and succeeding for the American people, we hear the hue and cry that's coming up when we do the job that ought to be done. And the ones that ought to be concerned and changing direction are our enemies. They ought to know that you're not getting away with it. And now this tanker full of oil that was intercepted yesterday makes it a point very clear about the relationship of Venezuela and other countries with Russia, supporting malign actors in this world. And America is not starting wars. It's keeping wars from happening.
Here's the question. People have been asking me this morning, and I don't know the answer. Maybe you do. The oil tanker seized millions of dollars worth of oil. Venezuelan oil, not as good as American oil. We know that. But where does that oil go? Where does it end up? Could it go to the Strategic Petroleum Reserve? Where does it end up actually?
You know, I don't know about that, but if it ends up in some of our tanks and refineries to be refined in a better way, that's great. If we export that oil to other allied countries, that's a good thing if we do that, since we are now energy independent again because of Trump policies. So, no, the main thing I'm concerned about is it hurts Russia and stops the advance of malign actors against America and all free countries.
In the spirit of Christmas, I think free gas for everyone, Congressman. Just free gas for everyone. It's the giving season. Speaking of gas, $2.50 a gallon. Anthony here got gas for less than $2.50 a gallon here in Michigan. It's coming down. Some places in Oklahoma and Texas are under $2 a gallon now. Historically speaking, we're at not quite record lows, but we're real close. And that is energy independence.
Yeah, I saw it under 250 a gallon out in a western state this last week where I
Yeah.
was speaking, and in Nevada around Las Vegas, it was cheap. In my district, Jonesville, I've been getting gas on occasion for 259 a gallon. So it's going down, and those naysayers out there that say that the prices, either for groceries or for gasoline, that we're not seeing improvement, significant improvement, they're just not telling the truth. And you go to California. I was in Los Angeles on Sunday for a short period of time in a meeting, and it was over $4 a gallon. So
Yeah, of course it was.
That's
But here,
California.
let's look at the economy. Because this is going to be the election, and Donald Trump's going to take it on the road. He started in Pennsylvania this week. He's taking his show back on the road, and he's going to talk about the economy. He's going to talk about closed borders, but he's going to talk about the economy. Look, the market's up more than 1,000 points in the last 48 hours because we had another drop in the interest rate. Thankfully, the Fed's running behind, but at least they're getting there, which means home mortgages, 30-year mortgages, are under 6% for the first time in years. Like we talked about, gas is in good shape. Groceries have gone up since January, but only 1.2%. I mean, there are so many good things to point to. And if the market continues to roar and energy prices continue to come down and inflation stays at 3% or below, we're going to be in pretty good shape by the time we get to November. And that's going to be critical. And it's also critical that people still get out and vote. But it is going to be all about the economy. Democrats wanted it. Let's give it to them.
Yeah, I agree. And last night at the White House, at the annual congressional Christmas party at the White House, the president was in very good mood, talking about the very thing you said. And he has to talk more about it. He has to talk about our economy, what's taking place. But frankly, it's going to happen before November. We're going to see the impact of doing the one big beautiful bill, the impact of tax cuts, the impact of pushing back on the crazy spending, reducing deficits, the tariffs, the impact it's having on reducing the deficit as well. It's historic, and it's going to impact people. Now, remember, when prices go up at the grocery store because of Bidenism and the Bidenomics, they're not going to go down greatly. Prices that go up, the best we can do is stabilize them. We'll see some reduction. But remember, this is a result of bad decisions at the ballot box in giving Biden the opportunity to have 4 years in office with an auto pen or whatever else,
Absolutely
but
true.
nonetheless bad policies. So, hey, what we're doing right now is historic in achieving success against all odds and bad wins that came as a result of terrible.
Biggest Black Friday ever, record-setting, biggest Cyber Monday ever, and they are predicting now $1 trillion on Christmas. So somebody's feeling the effects of a good economy. Congressman, good to have you here. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you as well. And we'll keep working here. You keep telling the truth there, and we got it done.
We got a partnership, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
There you have it. Congressman Tim Walberg from Michigan 5. Michigan 5. I'll take a break. It is the Steve Gruber Show. We were just talking about the economy with Congressman Tim Walberg. Let's continue that conversation now from the most powerful voice for business in Michigan, the Michigan Chamber Business Brief. Jim Holcomb is the Chamber President and CEO. He joins me now. Jim, good morning.
Good morning, Steve.
Nice to see you on this chilly December morning. Lots of snow out there. It's a good time to be in business if you've got a snow plow, that's for sure.
It is true.
All right, I want to start with this. We talked about it just before we came on. Income tax in Michigan. There's a ballot proposal that would double the income tax in Michigan. That is backwards to what the rest of the country is doing. There are 9 states now that have no income tax. Those states like Tennessee and Florida are booming. Michigan's limping along, and they want to double the income tax, which impacts small business more than anything. People that have a small business like me could get pummeled, couldn't we?
Oh, absolutely. It's horrible policy. Actually, more than double. They want to take it from 4.25 and put a 5% surcharge on there at 9.25, so more than doubling. And it's for people where it's really disingenuous. They're saying, oh, it's only on rich people. If you make $500,000 as an individual or $1 million as a married couple, so it's only rich people, which isn't true because 75% of the impact is going to fall on small business who pay their business tax through their income tax. So these aren't people cashing fat checks and really getting rich. This is going to take money out of the economy. It's money that a small business owner could use to hire employees, pay them more, expand their business, start new products. It's really damaging. And like you said, other states are going the right way. And again, Michigan is looking to make a wrong turn and really create a tax problem for a lot of people.
So it would be like S corps and LLCs that have flow-through income to their. Yep. Oh, you made $1 million. Well, yeah, but I've got 7 employees. I didn't make $1 million. I made $150,000 after I paid the bills and paid my employees.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky, that's right. A lot of these businesses run on a very slim margin, and you want to go put a surcharge? Whose brilliant idea is this?
It's another ballot proposal. It's out of state money. It's people coming in. They try to disguise it, say, oh, we're going to put all the money in education. Well, does anybody remember the lottery? Remember how that worked out, that all the money was going to go? And so there are no safeguards. There's no guarantees the money goes to education. It's another money grab. It's wrong for Michigan. And we're hopeful people don't sign the petition. It would be very damaging.
And how are the test scores for Michigan in education? Remind me, Jim, because as I recall, we went from being top 5 to somewhere in the bottom tier of education. Is that right or wrong?
No, unfortunately, you're right. Our education system needs a total revamp. And we're hopeful, obviously, next year is an election year. We're going to be talking to a lot of candidates. And we think voters ought to as well. Ask for a real plan. Ask for a vision. Ask to make sure that you're going to be voting and supporting somebody who's going to put kids first, families first, because we can't have a strong economy if we don't have a strong education system.
What is your take on, there's another ballot initiative out there that I think will make it. It looks like it's going to be close, but the end of the Michigan property tax. There's the Axe Michigan Tax out there, axmitax.org to find out more. They're really pushing hard to eliminate property tax. They're doing the same thing in Florida and other states. What's your take on that?
Yeah, no, I think it's going to have a lot of populist appeal. We do have some concerns. It takes a lot of money out. We want to make sure when you make those big tax changes, you have a plan in place to make sure that it's not defunding good parts of government. And so I think a lot of people are looking at this and they're going to say, yeah, that sounds really good to me, because I think property taxes have, again, gotten out of control and people don't feel they're getting the services. And that's one of the biggest problems. It's not that you pay taxes. It's we aren't using the tax dollars efficiently and people feel like they're getting ripped off. So I think it's going to have momentum, but I want to make sure that there's a plan in place to make sure that we do have the appropriate revenue to make sure at least government's doing the proper functions that they're entrusted to do.
Sure, and it's hard for people not to feel ripped off. You look at Georgia, very similar size state. Mm-hmm. They spend $20 billion less annually than we do. Pennsylvania, bigger, $30 billion less they spend to run their state. And they've got better roads, better infrastructure. Georgia's booming. I've been to Atlanta recently. It's just booming. They're building stuff everywhere you look.
Well, look right below our borders. Indiana and Ohio are well-run states. They're looking to reduce their taxes. You talked about income tax earlier. They're at 3%. The top rate in Ohio is 3.25, I believe, and they're looking to remove it completely. We're going the wrong way. We need to be competitive, and we need to have a balanced structure. Government needs to be doing what they're supposed to do and stay out of the way of business owners to let entrepreneurs flourish. And
golly, I'm going to have to buy a Buckeye hat and move south.
Well, we don't want you doing that.
What a horrible thing, Jim. I mean, good Lord. So I didn't even realize Ohio's moving toward no income tax. I mean,
there's proposals there. Yeah, there's proposals there. And what they're doing, I mean, you just see it. They have good transparency in the government. And people, I don't think people are opposed to taxes. They're opposed to wasteful spending. And we see that on the federal level and the state level. Take as few dollars as you need to from taxpayers, use it appropriately, and get out of everybody's way. So, like I said, here in Michigan, our small businesses, our entrepreneurs, our employers, that's what's going to drive the economy. Let's help them. Let's not punish them.
Well, absolutely true. Look, people here in Michigan are every bit as smart, hardworking, dedicated, and creative and innovative as anybody in Indiana, Ohio, Tennessee, Florida. I don't care. Get the burden off from us. Unshackle us. Let us run. You know, we were the first state to go back to getting rid of, right to work. Only state to ever go back on that. Silly thing to do. Going and raising taxes. Silly thing to do. More restrictions, more regulations. We've got to stop it. We've got to open up the floodgates of opportunity, don't we? I'll give you the last word. I'm optimistic that we can get it done. And the economy looks like it's doing so well in so many places that we need to join that effort here in Michigan. Last word to you.
Absolutely. The economy is doing well, but we need to help our employers. We need to help our job providers. They strengthen our communities. They strengthen our state. We need to stop some of the rhetoric that is attacking businesses, because I don't know anybody who has a job without a business behind them. So let's support our job providers and make sure they create more businesses so we attract people to Michigan and we're stronger for everyone.
Yeah, we don't want an exodus like they're seeing in some places, like Illinois and New York. We want to keep people here. Jim Holcomb, Chamber President and CEO. Merry Christmas to you, my friend.
Merry Christmas to you, Steve, and all your listeners.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, there you have it, Jim Holcomb. Look, double the income tax? Do not sign that. Do not, or sign it with Elmer Fudd or something, but don't sign it for real. Come on now. Double the income tax on a pass-through business? That would be so reckless, so dangerous, so wrong for Michigan. We need people going to work every day and having opportunities. I'll take a break and be right back. It is the Steve Gruber Show. All right, time to check in on sports now with Brock Palmbush.
With a look at sports, I'm Brock Palmbush. Zane Gonzalez hit a 43-yard field goal as time ran out, and that gave the Atlanta Falcons a 29-28 upset victory over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last night on the road in NFL Thursday Night Football. Falcons backup quarterback Kirk Cousins threw for 373 yards and 3 touchdowns, while running back Bijan Robinson ran for another score. Kyle Pitts caught 11 passes for 166 yards and 3 scores. The Falcons are 5-9. The Buccaneers' playoff hopes take a hit. They dropped to 7-7. 4 games in the NBA last night. Winners were Milwaukee, Houston, New Orleans, and Denver. A much busier night in the NHL. 13 games in the league. Winners included Ottawa, Montreal, Minnesota, and Edmonton. One top 25 game in men's college basketball. 4th-ranked Iowa State rallied from 13 points down to beat Iowa 66-62. And in women's basketball, 9th-ranked Oklahoma was victorious. That's a look at sports. Back to you, Steve.
All right, Brock, first thing, is that good for the Lions?
Say that again, Steve. I'm sorry.
The Buccaneers taking it on the chin. Is that good for the Lions?
I don't think it hurts. Well, it doesn't hurt the Lions, but it hurts the Buccaneers because they're trying to win the NFC North or NFC South, and that's going to put Carolina. You know, Carolina, who's been awful the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Well, Carolina's better this year. Carolina could win that division with a 10-7 record, Steve.
Let me tell you who's losing today. The University of Michigan. Ward Manuel is going to get fired. I say it here because I think it's pretty obvious.
It could happen as soon as today. I guess the Board of Regents are going to get together, but yeah, so we'll see.
Well, he's gone. Look, Sharon Moore, this whole tawdry affair, Sharon Moore is going to be arraigned today. He's still sitting in the Washtenaw County Jail. The former football coach now at the University of Michigan. First of all, he was fired for an inappropriate relationship with a staffer. The word is that the staffer was his assistant, and she's pregnant, and his wife found out, and then the University of Michigan found out a violation of policy. But now the top story on Fox News today, is top of the feed, is that he was stalking his assistant for months, threatened to kill her, threatened to kill himself, was arrested by Pittsfield Township Police. It's an absolute mess. It's roadkill, Brock.
Oh, it's bad. There's no doubt about that.
It's bad, yeah. Makes Mel Tucker look like not much at all by comparison. Sad. We'll continue to cover that here on the Steve Gruber Show and keep you informed. Again, that arraignment coming today. Another big hour of the program on Free Speech Free for All Friday after the break. something to make you look around and say, hey, you know what? I live in a pretty great country. President Trump is calm, on point, on his game. And unlike the last guy, he is competent and coherent. Come on, man. We're not bending the knee anymore. We're here to take a stand for God and country.
This is the Steve Gruber Show.
It sure is, and welcome to it. Here we are on another brisk December day. Lots of snow. I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be a white Christmas. At least where I am. It's going to be a white Christmas because I'm looking at the forecast. We're going to be rock solid with all this snow through Christmas. It's a free speech, free for all Friday. 3 big things to know this hour. That's number one, the weather. Lots of snow in Michigan and across the upper Midwest. That's for true. Number two, Sharon Moore, he got fired. Ward Manuel, the athletic director at the University of Michigan, he'll be next, probably today. Ward Manuel, you're gone. And number three, it is free speech, free for all Friday, brought to you by Patriot Mobile's Common Sense Hotline. 877-310-9966. 877-310-9966. John joining me from Michigan. You can join on any topic you want. John wants to talk about taxes in Michigan. John, good morning.
Yeah, Steve, you're not old enough to remember it. But back in the 50s,
maybe that's good.
When my parents were being persuaded to vote for the state income tax, we were told, oh, yeah, you vote for the income tax and we will get rid of the sales tax. Well, as you can see, neither one has been true.
They really said that.
The other thing is
hold on. They really promised
I think we should get rid of the property taxes.
Yeah.
The income taxes, strictly sales tax, because drug dealers and other people doing illicit things, they don't pay taxes. Only us people that are honest pay taxes.
So they made a promise in the 1950s that if you voted in an income tax, they'd get rid of the sales tax. Of course, that didn't happen. They told us that the lottery money would go to education and we wouldn't have to spend money on education. That didn't happen. And now Michigan's going the wrong way. What do you think about this, doubling the tax on individuals with a gross income of $500,000 or couples with a gross income of $1 million? A 5% surcharge. I mean, it's a ridiculous amount of taxes, isn't it?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And that's the reason why we don't have any growth in this state. That's why everybody's going south and saying the last person out of Michigan turned the lights out.
Yeah, exactly right. John, what city do you live in?
Whitmore Lake, just north of Ann Arbor.
Wham, 1600, your connection there. Wham, 1600. Love those guys. Theron X does a great job down there. John, I appreciate the phone call. Thank you so much. Look, we have to scale back taxes in the country and in Michigan. I like Donald Trump's idea. Get rid of income tax altogether. He says, it won't happen soon. He says it should happen. I don't disagree. If you put money into the hands of the people, they spend that money, they generate income for everybody else. It stimulates the economy. John's idea is not wrong. A transaction tax, you can call it a sales tax, but if you have a transaction tax only, the flat tax, I've always liked that idea. 17% flat tax. You don't pay income tax, you don't pay property tax, you pay a transaction tax. That's it. It's the only thing you pay. Covers everything. And the tariffs obviously have not bankrupted the world, so you've got that. All right, so on Fridays, I take time to look at the best thing I've heard all week, the dumbest thing I've heard all week, the most ridiculous thing I've heard all week. Well, let's start with the dumbest thing I've heard all week. I played it earlier in the week, and it's just so remarkable. Tim Walz says he is too manly for Republicans, and he's telling this to Hair Gel Gavin. How much hair gel does Gavin Newsom use? How long does it take for him to do his hair?
About as much baby oil as Diddy uses.
No kidding. He's got 55-gallon of. Anyhow, here's Manly Tim.
But I think this notion of toxicity in masculinity needs to be separated, and I think it's been conflated. And I think we're going to have to work on that a little bit. And I think there is a crisis.
I think some of us scare them. I think I scare them a little bit. Why they spend so much time on this? No, I'm serious, because I can fix a truck. They know I'm not bullshit on this. Yeah. I'm not putting this in people's grill. I don't know if my identity is not hunting. My identity is not football coaching. My identity is not a beard and a truck.
Yeah. Again, Anthony, I ask you, when you think of Tim Walz, do you think manly man?
No. I think he's a 12-year-old girl who identifies as a man.
Monty Python used to have the Twit of the Year contest on one of their programs. Tim Walz would be a candidate for Twit of the Year, for sure.
I want to see him. I want to see it. I'll donate my S10 and see. Let's see if he can fix it. Let's see if he can do the spark plugs.
Yeah.
I don't think he can.
How about this? We'll go shoot deer together, Tim. I'll got mine, you got yours, provided you can actually shoot one. And we'll see who does a better job and a more efficient job and a faster job. You want to compare wood skills? Come see me, Timmy. I'll lay that skill on the line for you anytime. All right, Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful. I really enjoyed this. This is the best thing that I heard all week, potentially. Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, giving a very astute observation about these drug runners in these boats. What did he learn? Here he is.
And historically, as Adam has pointed out, the Coast Guard doesn't do that. They board the ships, they interdict the drugs, they collect the evidence, and in many cases, they try these individuals and bring them to justice. Why can't we do that now?
So what I've learned from all this, and this is not the first time this has happened, don't get on a boat with drugs in it. You get blown up. That's what I've learned from this. And I think at the end of the day, the administration was elected to stop the inflow of drugs that are killing Americans. I think they're doing that. We're having a very healthy debate about it. But basically, no one's debating whether there were drugs on this boat. Venezuela's sending drugs out everywhere. And where it gets transferred to what boat and when, who knows? But if you're on a boat full of drugs, you get blown up. And I think this may have some drug dealers saying, maybe I want to slow down on the boat drug stuff, which is really what the mandate of the government is.
This is what I learned. Don't get on a boat with drugs. Good idea. It's bad for your health. Yeah, I think that was the best thing I heard all week.
I have a. Can we go back to the taxes? I have a question.
All right, what's your question?
Okay, so if they take away property taxes,
Yeah.
I don't have to pay that whatever $2,000 per year in property taxes.
Whatever
it is. Am I just gonna end up, you think, paying that more somewhere else?
Potentially.
Okay.
You might not. But what you won't do is have your house taken away from you if you're a senior citizen. Because what happens is property values, you see this every year, Anthony, they send you your property tax assessment. It's probably wrapped into your mortgage, but you still get a notice from the city or the county or whoever's doing your taxes. It always goes up.
Yeah.
And so if you're on a fixed income on Social Security, for example, and your property tax continues to go up, but your income stays relatively flat, man, they price you right out of your house. They take the house away from you.
So part of the idea is that even if I do maybe pay that $2,000 somewhere else, it'll give me more rights to my house.
Correct.
Yeah, that's fair.
Protects your house, especially protects older people who have paid off their mortgage, and just want to be left alone.
Right.
Yeah, there you go. Good question.
Thanks.
When I come back, Brendan Buck will be here. So don't go anywhere. It's the Steve Gruber Show. Jumping back into the conversation, a lot of conversations right now about healthcare coverage, Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, all coming to a head at this point. My next guest is Brendan Buck. He's an MSNBC political analyst and opinion writer for the New York Times and a former senior aide to a pair of speakers of the House. Brendan, good morning.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
Good to have you here. All right, so the Democrats had a vote yesterday trying to get the subsidies extended. It failed. A lot of opinions out there. What is yours about the Affordable Care Act in 2025?
Well, the issue at hand is whether or not we're going to extend these enhanced subsidies. So the ACA is still going to be there next year, but there's a big question of how much people are going to pay for their coverage. There are tax credits that were put into place about 4 years ago, and those expire in just a few weeks. And if they do expire, premiums are going to go up, not just a little, but a lot. And that's what Congress is trying to figure out. Can we extend these subsidies so that people are not asked to pay hundreds or thousands of dollars more? Whatever your view of the ACA is, I think people realize that the answer is not making people pay a lot more money in just a few weeks. And so we're hoping that Congress can still come together and figure that out after this vote failed. We think there is still a lot of common ground. There's definitely the votes there for some kind of compromise. It's just a matter of whether or not Congress can figure out how to put these pieces together and do so in a time where people can avoid these huge premium
Here's
spikes.
my question. Obamacare, we were promised a lot of things. We were promised you could keep your doctor, keep your plan. None of that was true. Rates have gone up 15 years or however long it's been around. Every year it's gone up. I just saw our premium increase here for our small company, $500 per month. It goes up every year. Obamacare has not worked as promised, has it, Brendan?
Well, look, the healthcare costs are way too high. I don't think anybody disputes that. And I think what's been interesting in this process...
That's not the question. The question is, has Obamacare worked as promised?
Well, that's not... My priority is just keeping these tax credits extended so that people who don't bear the brunt of it are people like you who are having to pay more premiums next year. Now, are there things that need to be changed to the system? Absolutely. That's absolutely true. The question before Congress right now, though, is do you extend these subsidies? Are people paying hundreds or thousands of dollars more next year than they did this year for the coverage they have?
Everybody's paying more because it doesn't work. Should we consider health savings accounts as proposed by the president? Should we consider health associations like Rand Paul has suggested, where you take Costco, for example, 44 million members, and say, look, we'll negotiate with United Health on behalf of our members, or we'll negotiate with Blue Cross Blue Shield on behalf of our members. I think those are very good ideas because the insurance companies have profited greatly. And 90% of the insurance company people, when they spend money on politicians, 90% of it goes to Democrats because they like these subsidies because it has padded their bottom line. That's not wrong, is it?
Well, in this market, at least, there are, by law, statutes on how much money insurance companies can make. They have to spend...
Well, apparently they make a hell of a lot. $15 billion in profits last year or more.
Yeah, their profits are capped in this market. They have to spend 85% of every dollar that comes in on your medical care. And if they don't, they send checks back out to people.
Well,
so
you know who got a check? The Blue Cross Blue Shield CEO. He took a pay cut last year. I don't think you should feel badly for him. He made $14.5 million. He makes more than head football coaches in college football, and that's pretty remarkable. What about sending the money directly to the people? Obamacare has not worked. I don't think anybody can argue with that. Even Bernie Sanders admits that. It doesn't work. And it's not going to work. You can paper it over with taxpayer money as long as you want, but all you're going to do is continue to send good money after bad, aren't you?
I think that's exactly the debate that is going to be taking place in Congress next year. But the issue is, in 3 weeks, people are either going to pay hundreds and thousands of dollars more for their health insurance or they're not. That's the question. And that's what Congress is trying to figure out right now. And that's what they voted on yesterday. And I think they're still going to figure out some kind of solution going forward. There are all kinds of problems, including with the ACA, that should be addressed. That is not the immediate question before Congress right now. Is do we make people, small business owners, 22 million people, pay $3,000, $4,000, $8,000 more for their health care next year? And if the answer is the ACA is bad, make those people pay more money, I just don't think that's going to be a very popular position. I think the White House understands that that's not a popular position, and that's why you had people like Josh Hawley, one of the most conservative people in the Senate, vote for the Democratic plan yesterday because he understands it's not a solution to just say ACA is bad, you pay more.
Yeah, it's a disastrous plan. It never worked the way it was promised. I had some sound from Barack Obama, but I don't have time for that. So Clearly, the ACA failed. So you think the compromise, if you will, is to send the taxpayers the bill again, but for how long? You can't extend this out for 3 years. That's insane. We've done it for far too long from where I sit because, like I say, my rates have gone up every year for a decade, a lot. Subsidies or no subsidies, the rates continue to skyrocket while Blue Cross, Blue Shield, United Health, and the others cash in, I think at my expense, at the expense of the American taxpayer. So what is the compromise, Brendan? Where do you fall on this?
Well, I don't have a view on how long they should do it. What Donald Trump has said is he wants to reform the healthcare system. I am pretty confident that's not going to happen in the next 3 weeks.
I'm pretty confident you're right about that. So what's the compromise?
The compromise is, I think what a lot of people are focusing on is a 2-year extension. And that gives Congress the next year to put in place whatever reforms they're going to do to improve the system. If you believe Donald Trump has a plan to fix the system, then give him time to do that. And in the meantime, don't create this cost of living crisis, and frankly, let's be honest, an enormous political crisis for Republicans going into a year when affordability is the key issue.
Isn't that remarkable, Brendan? A political crisis for a political party that didn't give one single vote to this mess. Not one. They didn't vote for the sunset. They didn't vote for the enhanced subsidies to end, and yet they're being blamed for it, including by people like you at the New York Times. It's pretty remarkable. I'll give you the last word, though. It's been a fair interview, has it not? It's been fair. I'll give you the last word.
Look, this is a very simple question. Will Congress make people pay more money in the short term? And if you think that's a good idea, then that's fine. But just know that there are going to be significant consequences for real people and for the Republican Party. That is the question before people. Are you going to extend these subsidies or make people pay a lot more money?
I don't think you can get 2 years, Brendan, but I guess we'll have to sit and wait and find out. You might get a year. 2 years, I think, is I'll take the over-under on that. I'll take the under. Brendan Buck, good talking to you. I think I see the world a bit differently than you do, but I think I'm fair. That's a fact. Thank you for being here. There you have it. We give you both sides. I think the ACA is a disaster, but he's right. Do you stick it to these people in the short term? What are your thoughts? Yeah, you're right, Anthony, by the way. The last guest from MSNBC was a Republican, but he's one of those Republicans that makes some Republicans crazy. Yeah, makes them go crazy. He served the last 2 Republican speakers of the House. That'd be Kevin McCarthy and whoever was before him. But if you're really a conservative, you say, yeah, Obamacare is terrible. Terrible. And it doesn't work. But here's where we are in reality. We can't cut these people off in 3 weeks. I don't think you're going to get 2 years on that deal. I think he's wrong about that. And that's just, to me, that underscores people who call themselves Republicans who are just sitting there waiting for the clock to run out on Donald Trump because they really don't support him. They smile and they nod and they give a couple of winks, but really they don't support him. And as a result, you get the Democrats being able to lay blame at the Republicans with no real fight. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you woke up feeling truly energized? That's exactly what longevity wellness is all about. The nutritional shake mix is built with protein, collagen, omega-3s, even bovine colostrum to support your gut, joints, and brain. No gimmicks, just clean science-backed ingredients that help you feel stronger every day. Start your mornings with longevity. Just visit longevitywellness.co/Gruber. Longevitywellness.co/Gruber. Use the promo code Gruber. You're going to save 25% off your order today. You know, my son uses this. He came home from, they had a training session for, winter training for the football team. First thing he comes home, he's digging through to grab the longevity. Young kids, if you're older, you need to make sure your nutrition is up. Good place. If you're on a weight loss program of any kind, especially those GLP-1s, don't lose bone and muscle mass. Longevity can help you through all that. Longevitywellness.co. Promo code Gruber, save 25% right now. I'll take a break and be back. Leading up to the midterm elections, election integrity. I'd like to see voter ID. We have it in Michigan, of course, but not all states do. I think you should have a guarantee that you're a citizen. I think that everybody should have an ID. Reason being is quite simple. If California doesn't have voter ID, and they have all these people voting that shouldn't be, it can sway the balance of power. I think all states should have the same rules when it comes to federal elections. Rachel Smith is joining me from District 43, a state rep in Michigan, from Martin. Rachel, nice to see you.
Good morning, Steve. Good to see you again.
And on the terms of election integrity, you've got some legislation here that will prevent the state of Michigan from buying voting equipment from foreign countries, specific foreign countries to be sure. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so I've got a couple bills, one of which was voted out of the Election Integrity Committee this week, would ban any foreign parts and equipment from foreign countries. The countries of concern, which are part of the Federal Communications Commission. So we just brought that in line with federally what those countries of concern are, and felt like our voting equipment shouldn't have that here. That was one of the bills. And then the other bill was banning foreign funding from any sort of ballot initiative or proposal, because right now, currently, that can be done.
Examples of such risk include the equipment or service being capable of being used for surveillance or to remotely disrupt communications networks. The FCC's list is known as the covered list number 1. Who's on this list?
Sure. Well, I'm sorry, I was thinking we were covering the foreign funding bill more. There is several technology companies that are foreign entities that are on this list, as well as countries of concern: Siberia, China, Venezuela.
Well, that's a pretty good list of there's the usual suspects right there, Rachel. That's for sure. I mean, why would we buy stuff from those folks in the first place for elections? I mean, elections are the foundation of America. Why would we trust these foreign entities or companies or countries to have a finger in it at all?
Well, I certainly don't, and I believe the people of Michigan don't. So we shouldn't have any sort of interference at all from any country other than the United States. So there's no reason that we can't get these voting machines, equipment, parts that are made here in America. So I'm hoping that we will see a national ban for this. Many states have introduced this. This is a problem across the nation. So we're just starting that here in Michigan.
And that's just one step, because you've also got legislation that would prohibit, and this is big, and I think this should be federal, would prohibit contributions from foreign entities. There's not supposed to be foreign money in our elections, and yet we know it's here. Right. I mean, you know that, China has great sway over TikTok, obviously, and other places where they get messaging out every single day, every second of every day. But when the money flows in, and we saw this money come into someone like Mamdani, money came in from foreign entities before he was elected mayor of New York. That is a direct violation, excuse me, of the law. We've got to make it crystal clear. You can't take a check from foreign entities to influence an election in Michigan or Montana or Mississippi or anywhere. Agreed?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, ironically, even our Governor Whitmer has come out publicly stating this, and actually called upon the legislature back in 2021 to strengthen our Michigan Campaign Finance Act and to close existing loopholes, which is what we do have here in Michigan, because federally there's a ban that no foreign national, individual, entity, donor can contribute to candidates or super PACs. But when it comes to ballot initiatives, that it doesn't prohibit that.
Right, which is just as dangerous, Rachel. And here's why. When I first began voting 1,000 years ago, everything didn't go into the Constitution, right? Now in Michigan, every ballot initiative, we're going to change the Constitution. That's really reckless and short-sighted to me. But that's the way it's done now. And so if you have foreign countries, let's say it's the CCP, dumping money into a ballot initiative to end voter ID, for example. Well, that doesn't benefit Michigan or the integrity of our elections. It benefits the Chinese, who can play games then with their messaging. Right or wrong?
That's 100% right. And, we've got our eye out on this. Since 2017, there has been 10 ballot initiatives that have passed here, now enshrined in our Constitution. And we can go back and trace this from, the 1630 fund, which is linked to George Soros, Swiss billionaire Hans-Jörg Weiss, who has poured in over $500 million across the U.S. to change our policy, our laws. In Michigan alone, we're a top target. There was $34 million that has flowed into Michigan for ballot referendums, and that's got to stop. So my goal and my hope is that with this legislation, that can be a key component to prohibit interference. It passed unanimously in the committee too. So I think this is something that's not a partisan issue even.
I would agree with you on that. You know, George Soros bought Odyssey, a radio company, out of bankruptcy in 2024, 225 stations across the country, including several in Michigan, giving him control of the airwaves. Now, look, he's an American citizen now, but let's be honest. His best interests are not in this country, my belief. Right. And when he controls the airwaves on 225, and he's also doing licensing agreements now, taking over more and more stations all the time, I don't think that's good for this country. Your thoughts?
Not at all. We have them infiltrating through our media, our sound waves, our policy, our laws in the states. I mean, when are we going to stop all of this and recognize that this is not in the best interest? We've got to tighten up our security here for the United States and Michigan specifically.
Yeah, and one other law that's doesn't have your name, it has Bruck's name on it, but would require certification that contributions for election administration, those overseeing the elections, are not foreign nationals. I think that's I can't believe we have to pass laws to make this true.
Yeah, very simple, straightforward. So basically the local clerks, county clerks, whoever is administrating the elections would have to have this certification stating that there isn't any foreign money flowing into them, because as you saw, even in 2020, Mark Zuckerberg, which it's legal to have third-party funds in our elections, but what we can't have is foreign funding. So this is just a parameter that's going to be set now that the local officials will have to attest that there are no foreign dollars coming in to influence the local or countywide, statewide elections.
Yeah. You know what? I'm old enough to remember that the government lies. I'm old enough to remember that people fudge the facts, and I'm old enough to remember that I don't trust these people. So I think there's probably foreign money and a lot of it coming in, especially from China and Russia and Venezuela and Iran. Anyhow, I really appreciate you being here, Rachel. It's good stuff. Does it have a chance of passing? We only got about 20 seconds here. Is it going to get past the Democrats, this legislation?
I think it will. I mean, we saw in the committee, it was unanimous, which is a 6-3 committee. And again, being that our governor was supportive of this, I definitely think that this is something that will pass the House, and then it will be sent over to the Senate and hopefully signed into law.
Yeah, we'll see. Rachel Smith, District 43. That's Martin. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you.
All right, still to come, Ivy's going to join me here. Maybe she's got some surprises for us on a chilly Friday. Free speech, free for all Friday. I'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Best part of the program because Ivy is in the room. Ivy, how are you?
Good morning, Steve.
Good morning.
Christmas is right around the corner. Holy moly.
So I keep hearing you and I are going to go out and do some financial damage this weekend. Have to, right?
Yeah, you know, honestly, the last few years we have been more about having experiences with our family and friends
That's true.
versus gifting. I think that's just so much more memorable.
We've
how
had
much
a
more
couple of
stuff
great
can
trips.
you really need? You know, how much more stuff do you need? But it's
My
always,
house is full. I'm good.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to buy a bigger house because you got more stuff.
There's a couple like essential items for, you know, your college kid that can't afford to buy nice things, and
Fair enough.
And maybe for the young guy, but you know, just the gift of giving for those who are really in need is so much more satisfying, in my opinion.
I agree with you.
But I want to share with you, I love Free for All Fridays and the most ridiculous, dumb things I've heard. But this one, I think, takes it to another level. And so this is my gnome bite there, Anthony, if you would like to play it.
The unfortunate accident that occurred with the National Guardsman being killed.
You think that was an unfortunate accident?
I mean,
It was a terrorist
no,
attack.
wait. Look, I'll get it straight. Then you can
He shot our
respond.
National Guardsman in the head.
Look, Mr. Chairman, will you direct the witness to allow me to ask my question?
Okay, get back to us,
It
Anthony.
was an unfortunate
accident?
Yes, this is Benny
I missed that. How did I
Thompson.
miss
This
that?
is
Of Mississippi. Benny Thompson.
Yes,
Oh,
he's a ranking member, and
Wow.
he said an unfortunate accident. How can you actually
How can you sit there and
prevent-
say such a thing?
and right, absolutely. The woman is dead,
Yeah, and the guy's
barely
permanently,
making it.
probably permanently disabled.
Right. You cannot address the problem that we have in this country with people like that.
Agreed. That is so
you cannot
outrageous.
say that this was an unfortunate accident. And so, you know, when you think about the not Obama, but Biden administration with the Afghan withdrawal, right? And they let
Fiasco.
100,000 people in and didn't vet them appropriately. And,
Or
and
more.
in that group, you have terrorists, you have people who are known terrorists. And so now that the Department of Homeland Security has to go and
Find them.
confirm that these people are safe to be in our country, and then this guy commits this horrendous act of terrorism, and you're calling it an unfortunate accident.
Yeah. He shot them with a .357 in the head.
Yeah.
Benny Thompson should be ashamed of himself, but they have no. That's just disgusting. That's
Well,
that's
let
that's
me
just
ask
the
my
dumbest thing
question.
of. Not the dumbest thing. It's the worst thing. It's a horrible thing. that I've heard all
Horrible
week.
thing. And imagine
Good
the
Lord.
victims. I mean, that's a smack in the face.
Yeah.
So I actually really admired the way that Secretary Noem handled herself, because she was being heckled. Of course, all the Democrats are just throwing everything at her, you know, trying to make her look badly, but she was unflappable. And even leaving, there was a group of these, you know, anti-ICE protesters.
Yeah.
And she just walked casually right through, like there was no problem. She actually stopped and spoke to a woman whose son was a victim of a crime from an illegal alien, gave her a hug, had a selfie with her, and then just walked right out. I always thought that was like really incredible show of strength on her end. And she
Yeah,
gets
she
a
was-
lot of hate, but she really has. It takes a tough person to do that job, and she really is tough.
Yeah, and there was some crazy stuff said there. In addition, I didn't see. I don't know how I missed that Benny Thompson remark. I'm just.
Yeah.
I'm appalled by that.
Absolutely. Well, here's another appalling one. This is bite 4.
Honest, I don't feel good about being white every day
Oh my God, this one.
for a lot of reasons.
Oh boy.
Because it's a point of privilege that I get to move through the world in a way that so many of my other colleagues and friends and family members of the community don't get the privilege to do.
Who
And
doesn't
I'm
get
just
to
a
this?
female, but just a woman, just a white woman.
Oh, white woman. Yeah.
If I was a white man, I would be functioning from a point of an even greater privilege.
Oh, good Lord.
I think
Stop.
we're missing an
Stop. I know this woman's from
opportunity when
Kentucky.
kids-
That's a Democrat from Kentucky, right? And she's in the state house. That's a Democrat politician from Kentucky. Is she seen the white men in Kentucky that work in the coal mines and work elsewhere?
She says that you know, she cannot, that other people cannot move through the world like she can. Who?
Please. Who
can't?
Yeah.
Who can't? You can come from any country if you have permission to come to this country. From anywhere, any color, any creed, any background, any ethnicity. What she's saying there is complete lie.
Well, I think she needs a mental health intervention.
Well, honestly,
because
though,
I think
Steve,
she believes that. What an idiot.
Sure. But they're only, in my opinion, the only privilege that actually exists is economic privilege. Because if you come up in a family that is pretty wealthy, you probably have a leg up in life. Because
Right.
you could go throw that away, and there's lots of people that do.
You mean wealthy people like Jasmine Crockett's family when she went to all private schools and privileged background and then started playing this whole
Kamala
ghetto
Harris
thing.
too,
Yeah,
and who
Kamala
claims
Harris,
to be,
yeah.
middle class,
And-
which
and
she was
claims-
not. But anyway,
still looking for that picture that she worked at McDonald's. False.
right. But there is no such thing as a white privilege. Come on. And when I think about this whole argument with slavery, all colors and creeds had been enslaved.
That's right.
White people as well.
That's right.
And so, go actually study history. This is so infuriating. But I want to get to another couple things. I just read the other day, it was confirmed that the United States deficit plummeted 53% over the past year.
That's right.
Under Trump's tariffs. In November 2024, it was $367 billion. As of November 2025, it's $193 billion.
Cut it in half.
Cut
More
it in
than
half. And so imagine as we continue going down over the next 3 years, how much more that can have impact. And not only that, but all of the corruption that they're finding as well. So that could be a even better
I
number
just
going forward.
had this conversation with one of our listeners on back and forth on social media here. We're a long way away from June of 2026. You look at the economy in June of 26, it's going to look a lot better than it does today, and today it's looking up. Ivy, I got to leave it there. Love you.
I love you too, Steve. I have a big Christmas list, by the way.
You do?
Love you.
Friday.
Really a ridiculous guy.
I am. And it's Friday. Gosh, it feels good. It's been a busy week. They're all busy, though. They're all busy. This blow up in Ann Arbor really was quite something in the middle of all of it. Sharon Moore will be in court today. Believe he's going to be charged with assault, stalking, and Lord only knows what else. Ward Manuel, however you say his name, the athletic director of Michigan.
It's Manuel.
Manuel, like a car. While he's grinding fifth gear, he's out. Brock, he's gone. He's done.
Not officially, but it could happen as soon as today.
Not officially. It's official here. It's like Death Watch, waiting for the little plume of smoke. Yep, it's done. I mean, you don't come back with it. I mean, Brock, all the rumors are that there were these big donors that had gotten lawyers and said, look, we're pulling all of our money, and we want our money back because you guys knew this was going on. I mean, it couldn't possibly be worse. Except maybe we'll get a better coach. I mean, that's possible.
And maybe a better AD.
And maybe, clearly, we need to upgrade around here, and the donors are mad as a hornet's nest you ran over with a lawnmower. So I think you're going to get some results out of this. No question. A bad day to be a Michigan fan, unless you like college basketball, at which point everything's just fine, right? Dusty May's doing just fine.
And college hockey's like number 1 or 2 in the country, too.
Yeah. When does the basketball team play again?
Oh, geez. I think they play this weekend.
Yeah, probably. Another 40-point win, whoever the next victim. Send in the next victim. Anyhow, we're going to watch, and we'll have a complete report for you on Monday on what happens to Sharon Moore. My guess is he's in real trouble. I mean, we're talking prison time here. Trouble. Based on what we've seen. But we'll sort it out for you next time we get together. If you're going to go Christmas shopping like I am, be patient. Very patient, all right? God bless America. I'm Steve Gruber. This is the Steve Gruber Show. Remember, work harder. Be better.